Are the Sixers back on track? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It is great to be here with all of you. It is Friday, the 15th of January, 2021. 14th, I'm sorry, it's 11:14 on the East Coast. Yes, first time this year, I got to say, that I said 2020. I know that's kind of the word we're trying to avoid. Yes, it's 2021, 11:14 on the East Coast. As always, you're alongside my co-host, Gavin Tony. It's Friday, man. Give me a break. But how are you doing today?
Zach, I'm doing great. I'm gonna give you a break because you did go skiing yesterday, so maybe you might took a nasty fall. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Now let's have some fun. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Look, interesting week as a whole. We would be creative with some of the times for our shows today. Somewhat normal. We got a lot of big stories to break down, a lot that involve the Philadelphia Eagles because two of their possible coaching candidates have been checked off. The Atlanta Falcons hiring the offensive coordinator from the Titans, and the Jets, of course, hiring Robert Saleh, the former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. But Brian Daboll, yes, I remembered his name, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, still available. Of course, Eric Bieniemy, Mike Kafka. We'll cover all of that as we go on to the show. But, Gavin, we're going to open up with the NBA today. For starters, Kyrie Irving is expected to return. He does have to face a 5-day quarantine. He's going to be facing a couple fines, $50,000 plus a few others for his time missed. Of course, I'm all for the fines. I think that they are deserved, no matter what the circumstance was. Not a lot of transparency with the team. I mean, look, where the money goes, that's not what really is important at the moment. Of course, I'd love to see them donate some of the excess money they get in fines to charity, but it's just some of our opinions. But with all that being said, Kyrie expected to come back, which means him, Harden, and Durant all on the floor for the time being. We know that's going to be dominant unless something were to fall down. Gavin, what are some of your thoughts right now as things are starting to mesh together, I'd say, for Brooklyn?
Well, Zach, I told you this was kind of a underrated plan by Brooklyn for Kyrie Irving to step away when Kevin Durant goes out. I don't think they expected it to be that long, but remember, Zach, in order to get James Harden, they wanted Kyrie Irving, and Brooklyn didn't want to give up Kyrie Irving. So what happened? Kyrie stepped away from the game for a little bit. All right, just step away from the game. What also happens after that, Zach, too? Did they think he was going to have a party? I don't believe so, but stepping away from the game was arguably one of the best things for Kyrie Irving because he's still here. All right, Zach, I saw a thing by Shannon Sharp yesterday on his Instagram. I was going to send it to you, but I forgot. He said Kevin Durant's Batman, James Harden's Robin, and Kyrie Irving's Alfred the Butler. I mean that was funny to me, but it's like, oh no, it's glad to see that Brooklyn's starting to come together. I'm waiting to see the debut. It's like it's going to be James Harden and Kevin Durant first, and I think people are making it out to be like this is going to be a big problem in Brooklyn. Zach, I thought about for the past 2 days now. All right, this is going to be dangerous, and I'm not talking about in a bad. I'm talking in a good way. Because Zach, Kyrie Irving is a killer of a three and can drive when needed to. We know with James Harden and his 20-step travel, and we know Kevin Durant's 7 foot, labeled 6'11", but Zach, we know 7 foot when you see it. My thing is this: if you can use Kyrie in a corner or anywhere else and just be a spot up shooter and drive when needed to, and then have James Harden be more of the ball dominant guy, or you could vice versa the two, and then have Kevin Durant be that guy that he is, this could work. But back to the original conversation, Zach, Kyrie Irving is going to come back, and this team is going to blossom. There's going to be some problems to start. Zach, that's what every super team we saw with Golden State, where they got blown out by the Spurs, and ultimately they get it going. But that's how every super team goes. It's like this team's going to be a problem in a good way. They're going to slow start, but they're going to be fine.
Look, I mean, it's going to take time. The question is, can they off the court handle it? And we're going to find out. Obviously, Kyrie and KD talked and decided they would go to Brooklyn. And then now at least one of them had to say something about Harden. If they didn't want Harden there, he wouldn't have went there. So time will tell. That's always the motto because it's true in sports. We will find out as it goes. Of course, at first it will be just Kevin Durant and James Harden. Will their depth get tested? It might here in the regular season. If they can make it to the playoffs, though, it's going to be a different story. You're a top 4 seed in the playoffs, you can run the tables easily. We saw that with Cleveland a few years ago. Of course, Miami last year. You go pretty shallow in the playoffs. If you have two, 3 reliable bench players, you'll be all right. So they just need to not kill each other. I think that's kind of the general motto for them in Brooklyn. But let's talk about another Eastern Conference potential powerhouse. Ben Simmons not traded. He still could be anyone, frankly, could still be on the move until the trade deadline. Ben Simmons, pretty good night last night. For those who don't know Ben Simmons' play style, he doesn't need 40 points to win. As proven last night, 135 points scored for the team. Ben Simmons, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals on top of all of that. Again, that team as a whole was great last night. Joel Embiid, 9 points. That shows you how deep this team is, that they don't need Joel Embiid every night to be going off the way he is. Ben Simmons getting the assist that he always gets. He looked a little more aggressive last night early. He needs to stay with that. Free throws were good last night. He was 2 of 2 from the line. Attempted a wide open 3, did not get it, but it's a start. I think that once Seth Curry comes back, this team is once again going to continue to blossom. They're back on track. I'll say that honestly. Danny Green came back to earth last night. He was 0 for 7 one night. He's like 7 for something the other night. And last night's like 3 for 8 or something, which is fine. 40% shooter is all we need from Danny Green. And, of course, the active hands on defense. The team looked good last night, even without Embiid being a powerhouse. It proves you don't need Embiid to be the one to run the offense through. If Embiid was off last night and you had a guy, James Harden here, I don't know if you're able to continue to pull off that victory. I don't know if he would have gotten the ball to Shake Milton, guys like that. Again, we don't have to play that game anymore because the trade has happened. But Shake Milton, 31 points as well. Tyrese Maxey continues to look like a star in the growing. Could be a possible trade asset, but again, I'm all for growing them organically. I love it. Of course, Tyler Hero on the other side of the ball, another Kentucky product. Gavin, some of your thoughts from the game last night?
Don't move Maxey. I'm committed. Zach, I'm committed to Maxey. I'm committed to Ben Simmons again. Zach, I had a hiccup 2 days ago, but now I'm committed again. And you're right. When Steph Curry comes back, this team is going to blossom. This team's going to be what they were. Zach, this team has 2 good stars, one underrated star in Tobias Harris because he never gets the recognition he deserves. And then you have fantastic role players and a rookie I'm coming out and say, Zach, making a case for rookie of the year right now. That's my opinion. He's making a case to be rookie of the year. He has to stay consistent, but Zach, that's just me. And Shake Milton is a strong candidate for 6th man, and I'm gonna come out and say most improved. Zach, we know Christian Wood is most improved favorite right now, but Zach, it could go anyway. But I will say this. Zach, Ben Simmons' aggressiveness, we want to see it. Yes, he only scored 10 points last night, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. That's cool. Doc Rivers said he's not going to push the issue. You tried everything in the book. I'm going to tell your dad to get you to shoot. Ben, shoot the ball. Doc Rivers comes and he's like, no, I don't care. Just defend if you want to do it. Just do that. He's doing it. Zach, we're winning games. When Steph Curry comes back to glue, that's going to be perfect. All right, he's going to go back to hitting threes. He might have a slow start. 10 days is a long time without shooting a basketball. In a notable game. And when it comes to Danny Green, Zach, I'm not a fan of Danny Green. I'm really not. So do I see Danny Green moving by the trade deadline? I believe so. But who? I think you got to get like a better role-playing small forward. Zach, you can win a championship with role play players and 2 stars and then great defense. That's what the Warriors did.
Defense wins it all.
That's what the Warriors did in 2015, where they had Curry, they had Clay, and they had Draymond Green, and then they had a fantastic bench and a bunch of role players.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's so important, of course, with versatile players on both sides of the floor. That's what's going to matter. Again, defeating the depleted Miami Heat last night, given, but 9-4, second best record in the East behind the Celtics, who are 7-3. Play against Memphis tomorrow. I believe we'll continue to cover some of it as it progresses. Of course, Sixers continuing to grow and blossom. It is unsure when Curry will return, but we will continue to cover that. But now let's shift over because we do have a lot to go over in the NFL. Robert Saleh hired by the New York Jets. Look, the Jets are a lot less dysfunctional than people want to say. Of course, Adam Gase was a disaster, and the culture has been completely diminished. Robert Saleh is going to fix that problem. I'm pretty confident in that. Joe Douglas is not a bad front office guy at all. I think he just wanted to, tank a year, I guess you'd say. Keep Adam Gase there. That's the easiest way to do it. Now they got a decision to make. Are they going to go out with the 2nd overall pick and get one of those 2 great O-linemen out of Alabama? Are they going to draft a really talented wide receiver? Are they going to trade back? Maybe trade back 2 or 3 spots and get Jamar Chase or something? Or are they going to take Justin Fields right where they are? Could they trade back and get Zach Wilson? Could they trade back and get Trey Lance out of North Dakota State? I don't know. Could they trade way back and get Mac Jones out of Alabama? The Jets,
They do have 21. They do have 21, Zach. Remember that.
the Jets do hold a lot of cards right now. There's a lot to like about New York. Honestly, I don't really see a franchise in the NFL, except for the Eagles, honestly, that I would say this is a franchise that no one wants to be a part of right now. Virtually every team is on its way up, from what I see. Jacksonville just hired Urban Meyer. They're looking at a couple of different guys for defensive coordinator. Is it really flashy? No. Should they have the first overall pick and one of the best college players in the league? Yeah. So I don't know. I like the hire by the Jets. I think that they're going to need a culture shift. Brian Flores, same way he did it with them. Don't be surprised if next year if they go 5-11, that's going to be a success for them, and then they'll be on the way up from there. But of course, it starts at the quarterback position.
I'm about to play bad guys, Zach. First of all, shout out to Robert Saleh, the first Muslim NFL head coach. Zach, I just learned that 5 minutes before we went on air. All right, so that's amazing. But here's why I have to be a bad guy. If you're going to be the head coach, you're going to have to make the toughest decision. Getting rid of Sam Darnold. Zach, we know Sam Darnold. He has some bright moments. 3 weeks he looks fantastic. Then the next 13 he looks garbage. Zach, I don't know what to do. But if you're Robert Saleh, you have to do this. I think you have to move on from Sam Darnold and start fresh completely. Is Justin Fields the answer? Maybe. Do you pick maybe a Devontae Smith or get a linebacker and then at 21 get Mac Jones? I don't know. But Zach, you have 2 first-round picks this year. You have some money to spend. And from what I saw yesterday on the comment sections of ESPN, a lot of NFL players like Robert Saleh. They call him a great coach, a great man, and even better coach and even better man. Zach, this guy, you got one, I think, arguably a steal in this year's free agent coach signings. You couldn't ask anything better than that. The Jets just have to make sure you work around this man, and you have to get him the pieces to be great. Make sure you hire an intelligent offensive coordinator too. You got Jameson Crowder there, all right? I'm not too fond of anybody else you have on that offense. Not because I don't know them, but they're just not that good. You got to start somewhere. If you get a quarterback and get a receiver, you get a receiver first and get Mac Jones. I don't know, but you can't go wrong. Zach, you have 2 first-round picks. You're better than what the Houston Texans have, which is nothing.
Yeah, and the Rams as well. But look, I mean, if you're in New York, you have Denzel Mims, of course, out of Baylor, who can blossom this year as well. Other than that, there's not much to look at. You have the safety you got from Seattle in that Jamal Adams trade. There's a lot of stuff to like about the job because there's a lot to be done. There's not a lot on the field right now for this team. You change the culture, you get a few more wins. It's that simple. Miami did it this year. And then you go out and you get a few more key pieces. And I think that's going to be what the key is. Can you trade Darnold and get maybe a low second-round pick and flip that in the 21st for another top 10 pick? I don't know. There's a lot that can be done. That seems to be the bottom line. But, Gavin, let's get into it. Then, of course, NFL picks are here. Again, not much other big news in the NFL coaching side. Of course, the Atlanta Falcons hiring the offensive coordinator from the Titans who was on the Eagles' choice board but was not necessarily my favorite pick for it. It's going to be an interesting one because it's a very run-heavy team in Tennessee, and I don't see it being that similar in Atlanta unless they draft themselves another running back. Todd Gurley, unfortunately, at his age, cannot handle the load that Henry was able to over the year, and even it didn't last into the playoffs this year.
But 30, but Arthur Wright is killed his day.
Unfortunately so. And we saw it with the playoffs a few years ago with the Rams. But, again, Bieniemy and Kafka, of course, you can't speak with them. You can't speak with Dabble. You can't speak with almost a lot of the coaches the Eagles would want to look at just because of their advancement in the playoffs, which is good. So, if you want to be patient, you can sit on it. Deuce Staley today, by the way, got interviewed for the job. If he doesn't get it, I would at least like to see him become the offensive coordinator if you get an offensive-minded coach. He's great at the running back's job. I don't think it's disrespectful if they don't bring him up. I think it just means that you have that much faith in him. But if you bring in, say, Brian Dabble, who's going to be the play caller, I would love to see Deuce get promoted to offensive coordinator and be able to work on developing schemes for the team, especially to encourage running the ball more.
Zach, I would love to see Deuce as a head coach here if you don't get the enemy, if you don't get Kafka. But, Zach, I'm not fond of Kafka because it's Doug Pearson 2.0. It's the same way, so I don't want to see that. If you don't get Brian Dabble, and make Deuce the guy here. Get an offensive coordinator, get a defensive coordinator. Zach, Malcolm Jenkins has not endorsed any NFL coach ever except for this man. He came out and said he deserves a head coaching job. This guy is a head coach job. Zach, who was always the guy on the sideline talking to players every time something went wrong?
It's always Deuce.
Always
Who
Deuce.
was the first to make fun of Boston Scott on his slow spin move? It's Deuce. I mean,
Deuce.
as Malcolm said, he's like when he speaks, people listen. I think that would be at least offensive coordinator. Again, it's not disrespectful if he stays where he is. I'm sure he can get an offer somewhere else, but I think in Philadelphia, if they can make him at least OC, if you bring in, so I would like to bring in a play caller externally. That nothing against him or anybody, but of course, what right now you have is broken. Of course, I would like to get a new quarterbacks coach, but that can be a conversation for a different time.
Here's what I like, Zach. I'm gonna just throw this out here. If you get Deuce Staley, right? Well, I'm not even talking about OCs. I'm just talking about other things. So you bring Deuce Staley as head coach, right? You get an offensive coordinator from out of the mind, out of the organization, fresh-minded, and you get a defensive coordinator and let him pick. Let him pick whatever he wants, all right? You have no influence. Let him do it, all right? That's his side of the field. You take care of that. And then, Zach, and then Deuce moves up to head coach, who's going to be running back coach, you ask? Bring in Darren Sproles. I would like to see that. And then
him or Westbrook.
Him and Brian Westbrook, right? And then if you want, and then who's going to be, the quarterbacks coach? What about Josh McCown? He's already here. He was here. The veteran presence. It could help Wentz again, and maybe it could give Jalen Hurts a ear. And then this is just a little joke my dad said this morning. What about Terrell Owens as wide receiver coach? I mean, but Zach, if we were to get him as wide receiver coach, our wide receivers are going to be fantastic. I'll say that much, but that was just a little joke we had going on this morning. But
we dancing on logos just as much as Juju. We'll evaluate the Eagles. The Eagles have a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of free agent wide receivers this offseason. If you can get Smith or Chase at 6,
Godwin,
and then you sign Godwin or Robinson or, dare I say, Juju. I mean, you need to get something that could really help out. There's a lot of free agent wide receivers.
Listen.
We'll cover it all later. With that being said, Gavin, we are going to shift over now to NFL picks.
Real quick, Zach. Quick. That Corvette ran out of gas, and he's not filling up here in Philly, all right? He can go somewhere else. But Chris Godwin, I'm all for. I don't think he wants to be in the shadow of Mike Evans and anybody else down there.
We'll find out. There's another chance to get a ring. I could see him going back. But, yeah, if the Eagles can find a way to do that, I'd love to see it. Penn State product, of course, from the area, so maybe that will help encourage his decision. But, look, let's break it down. We got a lot of exciting games this weekend. We got 2 tomorrow. It is the Rams and the Packers in Green Bay, as well as the Ravens and the Bills in Buffalo. Some snow expected in Buffalo as well. And then on Sunday, of course, the Browns and the Chiefs, and then the primetime game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against their divisional rival New Orleans Saints for the 3rd time. Gavin, let's start with the Rams and the Packers, which people believe is lopsided. I don't believe it. I really don't. I believe that defense is going to keep them in the game. Again, the run game is very suspicious for the Rams. But if it is on, right, if Cam Akers is able to have the day he had last week, if they can get some bootlegs going, the Packers struggle against that kind of offense. A good defensive front, I'd say that they're not as good as San Fran when they're healthy, but of course Aaron Donald is still pretty elite despite the fact that we're fighting an injury. But the matchup that we all know we're going to have to watch is Devontae Adams and Jalen Ramsey. That is going to be an excellent matchup to watch. Get the popcorn ready. It's in the tundra. I can't see the Packers losing, but it's going to be a low-scoring, running, bruising matchup. So I will take Green Bay. I'm going to take them 15-12. We'll get weird with the score.
15-12. You're taking Green Bay?
I'm taking Green Bay.
You went from
9-7 to be in the NFC Championship.
9-7 and worse. You say 8-8 and worse to them going here. Zach, I'm gonna pick Green Bay. Here's why. Jared Goff, Zach, I'm not expertise when it comes to medical health and everything, but when you have a titanium screw or whatever's in your finger and you're in the cold, doesn't that, I don't know, hurt, irritate? Aaron Donald, I get your ribs hurt. You're going to be breathing heavy. Zach, he gets double teamed. People are going to be pushing him in his ribs. The power, you can't generate that much power, even though it's Aaron Donald. He's superhuman. He's a bionic. And the only thing I am worried about is Jalen Ramsey and Devontae Adams. I don't know. Is Devontae Adams going to be open? Oh, wait, they got Alan Lazard. They got others. Zach, I'm going with the Packers this week. Oh, and by the way, Zach, Cam Akers, I love the guy. Cam Akers, great running back. But here's the thing. If your quarterback can't throw the ball for a full game in the cold, they're going to stack the box on you. Zach, you'd like to point out how bad Green Bay is versus a run. I arguably think they're as bad, but it kind of looked like they got better, too, at the same time.
Jimmy Garoppolo completed 7 passes last year against them. It's not going to be that big of a deal for them. Look, it's going to be a defensive matchup. Whichever defense plays better is going to win that game. But that's going to be definitely the game to watch as it opens up tomorrow at 4:35. And then, of course, at night, possibly a snowy Buffalo. The Bills and the Ravens, a combined 1 loss since before December between both those teams. It's going to be a great matchup. I want to say I can't see the Ravens losing, but in Buffalo with the conditions, I have to go with Buffalo in another low-scoring game, 20-17.
Zach, are you serious? I'm going big trust. Listen, Lamar Jackson said I'd never seen snow before, or I'd never played in snow. That worries me a little bit, but Zach, he's a runner. LaShawn McCoy, arguably the best snow player I ever seen in the snow. Zach, we know about that snow game here in Philadelphia versus Detroit, where he literally was gliding across. What thinks he can't do it in Buffalo if you're Lamar Jackson? Zach, I'm going Ravens 20-14, 21-14. Ravens are down first, though. You can't, if it snows, Zach, you can't air the ball out. And that's one thing Josh Allen is great at doing.
He also runs well. I wouldn't say just as well as Lamar, but very, very athletic is Josh Allen. Next game on our list, the Cleveland Browns visiting Arrowhead, the Kansas City Chiefs. This game, I don't even know what to say. Is it going to be competitive? Is it not going to be competitive? Gavin, I'll let you go first here.
It's a toss-up, Zach. But here's the problem. If the Browns get down early, you can't run the ball because running the ball takes away time off the clock. Zach, if you go, Baker Mayfield has to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, and I don't see him doing that. Give me the Chiefs this week, no brainer, 28-7.
Texas Tech lost to Oklahoma, arguably knocking them out of any possibility of playoff contention a few years ago. Of course, the quarterbacks were Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs have been good this year record-wise, but they've had a lot of games that have been too close to call. However, if Edwards-Helaire is back and healthy, they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to keep it balanced. I'll take the Chiefs. I'll side with you on that one.
The Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC, Zach. And if they, I wouldn't be, but once again, if Baker Mayfield and the Browns go up early and they can control the run game, Zach, we know the Chiefs are not the best versus the run. So I wouldn't be surprised. And let's go back to the game they lost. They lost to the Raiders. Zach, why did they lose the Raiders? Patrick Mahomes was creating turnovers. The pass was getting there. And Derek Carr, yes, Zach, I can't believe this either, but Derek Carr was actually hitting big plays when needed to.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that was a interesting game to say the least. And the Sunday Night Football game was very close between them both. Mahomes game-winning touchdown with the last minute of the game or so. Final game of the week, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints easily have had their number twice this year, even worse the second time. Of course, Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Evans have their beef. Gardner Johnson will probably fight with somebody. I'm sure it'll be interesting to watch. Maybe he'll get ejected this time. But, Gavin, who are you taking in this one?
Well, this game is going to be on the History Channel, Zach, because that's how old the two quarterbacks are. And the coaches arguably is old too if you're Tampa. I'm rolling with the Bucs this week. Why? You can't beat a team 3 times in a row, Zach. And this Bucs team is way different from Week 9. They found their identity. Zach, Antonio Brown is getting open. All right, Chris Godwin's still that guy. Mike Evans is still that dude. Well, I would say run the ball and get more established with Ronald Jones. I don't know if he's playing this week, but if you can keep Tom Brady upright, then it's going to be a different story.
You only put up 21 against the Bears. The Bears only had 9. I mean, what's been the Saints' hardest test this year? It's a different team.
Eagles put, 20-something on them?
Put 21 up on them, 24, I think, actually, to end the game. But
24 if you know who doesn't miss a kick, though.
That seemed to be a theme this year with the Eagles. But look, I think that in order for the Saints to win, they need to control the clock. Alvin Kamara's been running pretty much with a motive ever since he's been back from COVID. 6 touchdowns, it's insane. But the Saints are not known for the playoffs, especially in that stadium. I think this will be Drew Brees' last game. I'm going to take the Buccaneers. I'll side with you in a shootout, though. I'll say 38-35, game-winning field goal. Saints are up early, blow the lead in the fourth quarter.
Zach, I don't even think it's going to be a shootout. I'm going 35-14.
I mean, because remember, they dropped 31 points on the Washington football team. Say what you want about the defense, but 31 for the Buccaneers defense against Taylor Heineke, but 31 points on Washington.
And not a lot of people remember this Bucs defensive front will get after somebody.
Yeah, no doubt. They got a lot of talented guys, a lot of veterans. That's going to be the number. Tom Brady doesn't really get small in playoff games. He knows when to step up. I think that they've really figured out their system. Got to run the ball as well. If Ron Jones is playing, then that's going to be the big thing.
Real quick, Zach, I'm gonna answer this question in the comments. I like the hire. He has a big question. If he wants Sam Darnold, if he wants to restart, Zach, they have a lot of picks. Just going back to Robert's solid question, but they have a lot of picks. 2 first-round picks this year, 2 and 21. You can get a quarterback late, and Mac Jones. You can go get yourself a wide receiver, Mac Jones, or you can get a quarterback and then get somebody later. It's all up to them. It's literally their draft to lose in the first round.
It really is similar to how Miami was last year, and they rebuilt awful fast. In the NFL, you can get some good wide receivers, you can get some good defensive playmakers, and of course a quarterback, and you can be pretty much all but turned around by the next year. But another big story, of course, coming out of the NBA was the duel last night between the Denver Nuggets, who have been off to a shaky start, and the Golden State Warriors, who have since really seemed to find their groove. Gavin, Warriors falling last night in a primetime game on TNT to the Nuggets. Draymond Green 1 point. 7 assists, 4 boards, but at some point he'll have to step up. It looks like they're starting to find their groove. Wiseman's obviously being as productive as he can be. Oubre has been better, and Wiggins has been a role player. The pieces are there. What is going on with Golden State right now?
Well, first of all, Zach, did you see Bol get dunked on by Wiseman?
I did.
Okay, he was playing. Bol was out there. I didn't know it until I realized there was someone tall and lanky on the screen. But Zach, what's going on with the Warriors? They missed Klay Thompson. Zach, we know Draymond Green is not that guy like he used to be anymore. All right, he's not that guy. 1 point. That's like simple as Zach. I can give you 1 point. All right. Matter of fact, Steve Kerr, Bob Davis, Bob Myers, whatever your name is, sign me. If Draymond Green is giving out 1 point, Zach, I'll give you 3. I'll give you 3 points. Because look, I'm gonna get fouled and I'll go to the line and make 1. But listen, Zach, the Warriors just missed Klay Thompson. All right, that's the main story. You miss another dominant scorer. Steph Curry is doing a great job by himself. We talk about MVP candidate. I don't know, it's kind of up and down right now. But also too, James Wiseman is coming to his own. This is the first time they actually had a true center since Andrew Bogut, and I didn't really like Andrew Bogut that much. So they're going to be a playoff team next year. It's like if they get in, it's going to be low seed, and they probably won't make that much damage. But all in all, it's like what's happening with the Warriors is they're missing their other star. They're missing the other splash brother. And Draymond Green, you're a brick brother. You can't make anything else.
Yeah, man, not the scorer that he used to be, especially back in the playoffs. But how it rolls out, we will see Steph Curry pretty much fully healthy, trying to do whatever he can to put this team on his back. Some guys, look, they have good nights and they pull off good wins. But one notable game tonight before we wrap up today's show is going to be between the number 1 overall picks, LeBron James from way back 18 years ago, and Zion Williamson. They played each other once last year when they played.
And Zion won, by the way. So
Lakers were able to take that one. But Gavin, boy, they did. Lakers won that one. But Gavin, what are your thoughts on tonight? Do you think the Lakers, who are best record in the NBA, first in the West, no issue whatsoever, looking like a dominant team, who do you think is going to be taking tonight's win?
I'm taking the Pelicans tonight, Zach. You get Zion back. Zion's going to give you 20 in the post. All right, I know it's going to be Anthony Davis, but Zion is a force to be reckoned with. He's superhuman. Zach, he jumps out the gym. I wish I could jump like him because, Zach, if I did, I'll be going to the NBA too. But it's also going to rely on Brandon Ingram and is Lonzo Ball in tonight? I don't know. Is Josh out there? But look, if you got Zion, you got Brandon Ingram, either one, they can combine for 40. They combine for almost 80. They both can give you 40 points. Zach, if they want to win this game tonight, it has to be bad Lakers shooting on the other hand, hot shooting on the Pelican side, and you have to have your 2 guys that are out there playing. They have to come out and be dominant.
No doubt it's going to be a fun one to watch. Also, Mavericks Bucks play tonight. That's going to be a fun one. Other games around the NBA. New York Knicks have fallen below 500. Them and the Cavs play. Not much exciting there. Celtics and Orlando also playing tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow we expect to see the debut of James Harden. We'll see if he does end up playing tomorrow. We'll get, of course, thoughts on the Nets on Monday. With all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today and this week here on the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. Gavin, anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, real quick, LeBron fans, y'all need to relax, all right? Kevin Durant didn't ask for James Harden, as we know of. All right, it's like, have you seen Twitter? Kevin Durant needs James Harden and Kyrie. Shut up! Shut up. You needed Anthony Davis to win, and you barely won.
Anthony Davis or Kyrie, and for the record, it took maybe
Zach,
2 weeks, about like 3 weeks. 3 weeks for Kevin Durant to last Kyrie before having to get someone else. LeBron made it work for 3 years.
But why?
I don't ever want to hear Kevin Durant better than LeBron James. Top 5, possibly get into that conversation, yes. But ever to top LeBron James, even if you're an MJ fan, never, ever will Kevin Durant.
I'm a firm believer that Kevin Durant was the best player in the league 2 years ago.
He's the most versatile. Doesn't make him the best.
But Zach, I mean, he's 7 foot. He did everything. What do you want?
Versatile, you're right, but not the best.
He blocked LeBron James on Christmas Day. I remember that because everybody was complaining about foul.
I really don't care.
LeBron James fans, y'all need to relax because it's not always about y'all.
They had to get him in order to beat LeBron.
And well, he had to go to D Wade and bring Chris Bosh with him to win as well.
And won too. I mean, it worked.
And then he had to go get Kevin Love and.
All right, don't act like Kevin Love is the same as James Harden. As much as I've respected,
I'm not saying. I'm just
not the same as James Harden. James Harden is
a scrub when
James Harden's the best shooting guard in the league.
But Kevin Love wasn't a scrub when he got him.
I never said
LeBron James.
Young Kyrie. I mean, come on, man. 3 years make it work with him. Durant couldn't last 3 weeks.
You're making it seem like Kyrie Irving was some bad, moody person. Zach, he was injured the first go around.
They probably would have won the finals that year also.
No.
They would have too. LeBron would have won more if Kyrie was healthy.
No. All I'm trying to say is, ladies and gentlemen, because I know I'm not going to be able to – this argument is never going to be over. But all I'm trying to say is this, is like –
Durant will never be better than LeBron.
Zach, we can argue this till the cows come home. I guarantee you Kevin Durant is the best player in the league right now.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Yes.
Versatile. He's most versatile. He does everything. He can pull up from anywhere. He can be a power forward. He can get boards. You're right. He's one of the most versatile. He's probably the most versatile player in the league.
All right.
But as far as when it comes into the conversation of all time, or even at the moment, I'm not.
I never said all the time.
And he'll never surpass LeBron. All
I never said all the time. I said right now, best player is Kevin Durant.
I'll put him up there with Giannis, LeBron, and Luka.
Luka's a little too.
Luka's turned it up. I'll still put him above him. No disrespect to Kevin Durant whatsoever, but he needs a lot of help.
If Kevin Durant and LeBron James are face off right now, Kevin Durant's winning, and this is without James Harden.
1v1's irrelevant.
Huh?
If it's a 1v1, it's irrelevant. They're different types of players.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about if Brooklyn and if Brooklyn without James Harden, which KD, Kyrie versus AD, like this trade never happened yet, they would win.
That's fine. And you know what? When the Lakers win the championship this year,
they're not winning the championship. Zach. They're not winning this year. They're not winning.
They weren't winning last year either.
I mean, Zach, guess what I'm gonna say? Then what? What would be? He's what? 4 and what?
Who, LeBron?
Yeah, 4 and 9, 4 and 9, 4 and 10.
It's not a pretty record, but
he's about to have 4 and 11. All right, Zach. He's about to have a worse. He's about to have the Eagles record. He just needs a tie. He just needs a tie at some point.
Remind me though, who did LeBron beat in his first NBA Finals?
Spurs. Oh no, the Thunder.
Who's on that team?
You can't use that. You
Casey
can't.
Rested. The only time.
0-2 versus Kevin Durant after that, though. Remember that.
After that, all right, yeah.
0-2 after that. 0-2 after.
And Michael Jordan hasn't lost a basketball game since 2004. So
hasn't.
You're right, because he hasn't played.
Undefeated 6.
I'm undefeated in the NBA. We're both undefeated in the NBA.
Well, we don't have a win in the NBA, so
we never lost an NBA Finals.
But we never even started in an NBA game, so it doesn't matter.
Well, facts matter, so that's why you got to add all the context when you talk about
Zach, I'm gonna leave on this note, and then we're gonna go our separate ways for the weekend. But all in all, I'm trying to say this: it's not always about you, LeBron fans. We're not worried about y'all. All right, Kevin Durant's not worried about y'all. We'll see you if you're lucky. I don't even know when it's going to be. I was going to say June, Zach, but who knows when it's going to be.
See you in July or August. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today here on the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show.
4-11 sounds horrible.
We'll be back Monday.
Maybe.
I will be, everybody. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.